Katrina, you know, I was on my knees begging for these people to leave me alone. You know, after Katrina, I was about ready to hit the grave. I said, now with the oil spill, I'm in the bed reaching for the plug. You know, it's just, how much more can you take? The failure of the government to force BP to use the proper equipment, you know, that encroaches upon negligent homicide. BP and the government on the subject of the respirators, you know, they were married, whether they wanted to be or not, okay? And the government was in a bad position, you know. I hate to take up for the government because they really haven't done much to help me in my hurricane recovery and stuff like that. We had to fight whatever a little bit. We did get some help now, but we had to fight tooth and nail to get it. I mean, fight, all right? You know, in a hurricane, you had no one to go after. It was a natural disaster. BP did this, okay? And it was their fault, their negligence, any way you want to put it. So it's their responsibility to fix it. I mean, because understand this, people saying, oh, they don't care about that oil. I said, you've got to be slap goofy. I said, do you think that people want that oil blowing out? You know, they're taking their time. I said, they trying anything they can to fix it. But you're 5,000 feet down, you know, with pressure out of the wazoo coming up. You know, it's a miracle it got capped. It really is. But, you know, the government steps into something, it's the worst man-made disaster. They don't have the facilities to control this stuff. You know, a lot of people ridicule the government should have took over the capping of it. What are they going to do? They don't have that kind of equipment. They don't have that kind of knowledge. Now, they should have overseen it more. They should have stopped the correction. They failed that pitifully. And what really aggravated us, government entities were supporting the use of the correction. EPA told them, don't do it. And they kept doing it. So then you feel abandoned. You know, so you come with that same thing, you don't know who to trust. And one of the things we complained about the most was the rampant use of the Coast Guard to do what BP wanted. That was out the box.
You know, the Coast Guard was not there to do what's best for the waterways, the birds, or the people. They were there to cover BP's butt. Why? Hopefully one day we'll figure it out. You look at from the first time we were headed out the canal and the Coast Guard said, hey, this road, this waterway is closed. BP has it closed. And I believe the governor told him, wait a minute, it's a state waterway. Get the hell out the way. BP can't close this waterway. And then when we started taking pictures, took y'all out in boats to take pictures of the birds, instead of helping, we had cameramen set their cameras down and take blankets and wrap up the pelicans and bring them in. Instead of saying, good job, what did they do? They put an 80-foot rule. If you cross the boom, you go to jail, a federal offense, and a $40,000 fine. From that moment on, fishermen, local fishermen, we watched birds die rather than rescue them. Then we saw where they were leaving the pelicans in the cages for 5 days before they treated them. Well, after half of them died overnight, then they said, okay, we're gonna give them an IV within the first 24 hours. But then after I exposed all that, instead of working with them, say, thanks for realizing we're making a mistake, what did they do? They ended up moving the rescue center 3 hours away. And I think half the birds or more died in that truck rod, and the email said, move it out of Plaquemines Parish. They didn't want us going in there and seeing what they were doing to those birds.